Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. Shall we start here on the daily? Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the major crash that could be coming very, very soon to Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this video, but that's okay, because as you guys know, I'm going to tell you what I think you need to hear, whether you like it or not. And today, I'm going to be explaining to you why a corrective movement on Bitcoin over the next month or so is not only possible, but is actually likely. Now, I want to put something out here up front. We have acquired a lot of Bitcoin between 100 and 105. I do not have any issue at all with this acquisition level, especially in the long term, and I am not saying that you shouldn't buy any right now. You should not be scared of a bear market, and you should not be so fearful that you don't put investment into the market. In fact, I just encouraged two people yesterday to invest a great deal of their net worth into Bitcoin at this level, while also encouraging them that a drop down to 92 could happen. So I'm not in this video going to say that you shouldn't invest here. I'm not in this video going to say the bear market is coming right now. And I'm also not going to say that Bitcoin's doing anything other than going to between $1 and $3 million over the next 10 years up and until 2035. In fact, I'm going to show you why that's likely to happen. That being said, because I value my integrity, I am going to tell you something that you might not want to hear. And that is that the charts are looking relatively bearish right now. In fact, they are screaming at us that a backtest down to $100,000, and should that break, a backtest down to $92,000 is not only possible, but likely. So today, we're going to be discussing exactly what a drop like that would look like, and whether or not we should be freaked out and terrified about the cryptocurrency market as we stand. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Let's read a little bit of chat. We've got a lot of people in chat this morning. Blasnik is here. Queen is here. Jose Vega, Edsel, Kryptoni, Money Badger, Bob Riley, VS Fat Cat 13 in chat. Mark Anthony is in chat. Please don't stab me, my friend. Philly Skills 1428 is in chat. Steady Bug is in chat. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Let's start with the long term, because I don't want to be a fudster. I don't like being that guy that sends people on witch hunts to sell as much Bitcoin as they can. No, I never short Bitcoin. In fact, I'm the guy that teaches holding dollars is equivalent to shorting Bitcoin, which it is. Holding Bitcoin is equivalent to shorting the dollar, and holding dollars is equivalent to shorting Bitcoin. I'm the guy that just deployed over 80% of all liquid cash that we have into Bitcoin over the last 4 months. A lot of that even taking place between $100,000 and $105,000. So relax. Don't think I'm some perma bear. Do understand that I've got to show you this. Over the course of this year, one of my favorite technical indicators, Lux Algo, has nailed it over and over and over again. The last 3 signals that Lux Algo has given us have been perfect signals. We started talking about this chart yesterday. I want to expand upon it today and explain to you why a $92,000 Bitcoin is possible and why I hope that that happens. Now, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I don't care. I don't do this to be popular. If I did the things that were popular all the time and compromised my integrity, we'd have 1 million subscribers, but you wouldn't be able to trust me. I'm not interested in being popular. I'm interested in telling you the truth. The next 2 to 4 weeks, we could be bearish. From there, $135,000 to $150,000 Bitcoin is highly likely. Here's why a short-term corrective movement followed by a massive run up is in the cards. Lux Algo has nailed this market over the last 6 months. We saw a red sell signal right here confirmed by red trend catcher. That happened if we zoom in here, on this day, February 24th of 2025, that was the same day that we fell below this uptrending level of support, and it was the same day that we had a large red candlestick here, down to about, funnily enough, $92,000. Lux Algo predicted that we would drop very far here, and we had a take profit right here. We would end up dropping down to $75,000. Lux Algo hit that perfectly on the exact day that we broke this uptrend and began this major downtrend. Lux Algo called that, and we ended up going into a protracted correction. We started acquiring a lot of Bitcoin around here, and this sell signal had something to do with it. Fast forward a little while, and that downtrend was defined by this downtrending level of resistance. This uptrending level of support was broken and confirmed by that sell signal. This downtrending level of resistance was broken and confirmed by this buy signal. The day that we broke above this downtrending level of resistance, we saw green trend catcher come in to confirm the buy signal. We had a buy signal come in here, which was an early warning sign that we were about to go into a major rally up. And then we saw the trend catcher confirm right here on this date, which was the same date that we broke the downtrending level of resistance. We are currently working to establish that Bitcoin is being predicted by Lux Algo. Lux Algo has given us this buy signal. It confirmed the uptrend, and at that point in time, this is basically when I said, all right, all bets are off. Bitcoin's going to $100,000 and it's going to break it. It was at this point in time that I was gone on my hiatus, but I watched the chart very closely. This is where we started dumping tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars into Bitcoin. We dumped a lot of money into Bitcoin around this point in time because after we broke 85, broke this downtrend, I knew that we were going to 100K. As far as I was extremely confident that we were going to 100K. And in this period of time right here, we managed to get to another one of our goals, our certain Bitcoin goals. You should all have certain goals, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 1 Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin, whatever your goals are. We hit another one of our goals, and I made sure we hit it before we hit 100K. And the buy signal from Lux Algo helped me to do that. Now, so I've established so far this year that Lux Algo, I keep doing that, sorry. We've established this so far that Lux Algo has given us a great hit rate this year. Lux Algo flashed a sell signal when we broke below the uptrend that we see right here. The sell signal flashed, and we had already seen the trend catcher red, and that gives us this corrective movement. These are daily chart buy signals on Lux Algo. It gives us a pretty solid confirmation that we're probably going to go into some kind of corrective movement. Now, the good news is for all of you guys that are ticked off at me, we do have an uptrending level of support here on the hourly chart. The issue with this uptrending level of support is that it actually acts as the shoulder line the neckline for a head and shoulders pattern. That head and shoulders pattern, if we were to extrapolate, would give us a price target down at $95,000, which would be a back test of 100. So here's the deal. Bitcoin is in a symmetrical triangle pattern right now. You can see the trend lines right here. If Bitcoin manages to hold the uptrend and break bullish, then great. Forget about what I'm saying, and we're probably going to go and retest the all-time high. That's great. If not, and if we start to break this uptrend at about 103, if we break this uptrend over the next couple of days, all bets are off. We're going to retest $100,000. Now, there is an enormous amount of buy orders at 100K. So there is absolutely no guarantee whatsoever that we will break below $100,000. And in fact, $100,000 would be a great place to start acquiring on this dip. Okay, that's actionable. This is not just theory. This is actionable. If we break bearish here, there's an enormous amount of buy orders at 100K. It would not be a bad place to set some long-term acquisitions at exactly $100,000. Maybe $100,200 so you actually get the hit the bottom. If we drop down to 102, then we end up seeing a great entry price for the long run. Could we go lower than that in the bear market? Yes, but you don't know for sure the bear market's going to happen. I can't guarantee we're going to drop down to 92. This is just a theory based on the analysis. This is what the chart's kind of telling us, but that doesn't mean the chart's going to do it. Right? So $100,200 would be a great place to start entering on this corrective movement. Now, here's why I say $92,000. As you guys know, we have the CME futures, and Bitcoin traditionally will fill gaps on the CME futures chart. This has happened over and over and over again. There have been a few times that we have not seen the CME futures filled. but those are few and far between. Generally, Bitcoin does fill the CME futures gap, and generally they end up being a good price, not so deep that you end up starting a bear market, but a good price for a healthy corrective movement. If Bitcoin were to drop back down to $92,000, which is where this CME futures gap sits right here, that would be a corrective movement of approximately 18%. An 18% corrective movement off of a 50% rally is fantastic, because while the rally was $37,000 tall, the corrective movement would be $20,000 deep. That is basically our 50% retracement off the rally that we typically see. So, for example, if we bring out our Fib retracements here, we saw, for example, here, we saw the retracement drop us back 50% of the rally. If we draw our Fibs over here, you can see that we didn't even drop that far. We dropped down to 0.382, right? A 0.5% drop is very, very typical. If you go back well into the past, in fact, we'll have to go onto the BLX chart to do this. If you go onto the BLX chart, you'll see, especially in the 2016-17 bull market, which was textbook. This is one of the best charts that you have for technical analysis education. It was very common for the market to drop back down to the 0.5 or the 0.382 Fibonacci level. You can see on this rally from $900 up to $3,000. Oh, no, wouldn't we love to have those prices again? Bitcoin dropped down to the 0.382. On this rally, one of these more parabolic rallies, from 3,000 to 5,000, we drop back down, 1,800 to 5,000, we drop back down to the 0.5 at 3,000, right? So a 0.382 or a 0.5 drop makes sense because we've seen it over and over and over again. Remember, Bitcoin's chart has a personality. It typically does the same thing time and time again. So if you look at the Fibs, it doesn't make a lot of sense that Bitcoin would be done here with this correction only going to 0.236, other than the fact that 0.236 sits here at $100,000. No, what makes more sense from a technical analysis standpoint is Bitcoin dropping back to the 0.382 as it's done time and time again throughout history, which would be, if you'll recall, the price target off of this head and shoulders pattern. Remember the price target off the H&S. You guys can deny what I'm saying and call me a perma-bear, or you can realize that I'm doing technical analysis. I've been doing it for 8 years, and this happens over and over and over again. I'm sorry, do you know these charts better than I do? Have you been watching these charts every single day for 8 years? I have more reason to brag about my knowledge in technical analysis than most of you. I won't. I can be wrong. But if you disagree, tell me why. Bring some evidence to the table. Don't just say I'm a fudster. I have more Bitcoin than you do. I'm not a fudster. I love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. We put so much of our net worth in Bitcoin. I'm not a perma-bear. All right? If you disagree, explain why. I'd love to. I'd love to debate you. Go right ahead. If we did see Bitcoin hit the price target of this head and shoulders pattern, then we would see Bitcoin drop back down to the 0.382 Fibonacci level, which would be typical of a Bitcoin corrective movement, which we have now confirmed is taking place as a result of our other analysis. Cool? Cool. If we were to fill the Fibonacci 0.5% retracement, that would be a drop down to $91,500, which would fill the Bitcoin CME futures gap. There are 3 major possibilities here. Either one, Bitcoin drops down to $100,000, holds it, and then we springboard up to 125. Can definitely happen. I'm not against that at all. It can happen, which is why I said one of your first entries for this corrective movement, which we are now confirmed to be in, especially after the conference, would likely be around $100,200 in case the buy orders are so strong at 100K and we don't drop. It's very possible. It's very possible we don't break 100,000. That's fine. I've been acquiring up above 100K. I've been telling people around me. We've been doing it. We've acquired so much Bitcoin between 100 and 105,000. I'm not saying it's a bad entry price. It's a great entry price. Even if you go to 60 in the bear market, it's fine. But 0.382 and 0.5 should not, by any serious technical analyst, be discounted as a possibility. There is zero reason to discount this as a possibility. Bitcoin gained almost $1 trillion in market capitalization in 50 days. I don't care how mature the market is. It needs to cool off. It's that simple. It can moonshot. I hope it doesn't. I told you I might be unpopular with this video. I don't care. It can moonshot straight to $150,000, and you know what'll happen then? Bitcoin will have added $2 trillion in less than 6 months, and then it will go into a bear market that'll be even deeper than the bear market would have been if Bitcoin had have done what it should have done and cooled off and dropped back down to 95 to 92. I love the narrative of we're never seeing a 5-figure Bitcoin ever again. In fact, I've said that a few times recently, but honestly, I think I'm wrong. I think that we are going to see Bitcoin drop back and backtest 100K. If we hold it, then great. That means the bull market's on freaking fire and we're about to go crazy, but it also means you're not going to get a great entry. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and be mad at Jeb that he says that a drop down to 92 to 95 could happen? Or are you going to realize that it is a possibility that might not happen, but if it does, are you going to be ready? Are you going to deploy all of your cash above 100K so that when we drop down, if we drop down to 96 to 92, you have nothing and you're not able to lower your average cost basis because you were dogmatic in your belief that Bitcoin absolutely could never go below $100,000 ever again, even though we were just there 30 days ago? Or do you realize that a healthy drop down to $92,000 would actually be one of the best things that could possibly happen to Bitcoin, which would allow for another 50% rally off of 92 as a base instead of off of 73? We saw a major rally here off of $74,000, a 50% movement. If we saw the same movement again off of 92, a 50% movement would take us to $135,000. Should we bet against that? Or should instead we be prepared? A lot of people are talking about the GLD chart, the gold chart, that Bitcoin is going to do the exact same thing that gold did here. We have this ascending triangle pattern, ascending wedge, Bitcoin breaks bullish out of it. Yes, I think Bitcoin is going to do that. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. I think that is exactly what we're going to do in this cycle. We're going to go absolutely ballistic. But guess what? If you're drawing that same ascending wedge and breaking bullish out of it, what would make sense to happen? Probably another drop down here to backtest the support, one final bounce so that we can coil up as much energy as possible to go parabolic and break the uptrending level of resistance and head on towards 200K. That's what I think is going to happen. All I'm telling you here, and you can shoot the messenger if you want, that's fine, but all I'm telling you here is that there's a high likelihood that you're going to get another sub $100,000 entry, and I would hope that every single one of you that has some maturity in this space can understand that that would be a great blessing. I would love to have another $100,000 entry. I would love to have another $98,000 entry, $96,000 entry. We have a policy. We never deploy all of our cash. We always have a little bit more that we can deploy in a various number of ways. And so if Bitcoin drops below $100,000, I will be acquiring down there. That's what we'll be doing. I don't think we're going into a bear market. That makes absolutely no logical sense, especially considering the fundamentals we're about to talk about, because a lot of you now think I'm a perma bear, which I'm not, because I think we're going to 150 to 180 this cycle at least. That being said, another corrective movement down to 92 could happen. I just love it when I lose subscribers for the sake of trying to tell you that you might have a blessing on the horizon. YouTube is so much fun after all. You know, I love what I do. Let me clarify, because I kind of blended sarcasm with reality there. I do love what I do, but sometimes you guys make it hard. Come on, guys. Don't get mad at me just because I'm telling you there's an opportunity on the table. Let's read a little bit of chat here, and then we'll keep it moving. Let's see. Pew Pew Poom 2 said, historically, 68 to 72% of descending wedges break to the upside, and your Lux Algo buy signals are lagging indicators at best. Let's see those descending wedges. You're right. Descending wedges do typically break up. In fact, I've been teaching that for, 8 years. I made a course called CT2A. You may have heard of it 7 years ago, and one of the videos in there teaches the 70% reversal. You do have a good point. And that is that there is that descending wedge, right? You've got a descending wedge here. I'm not exactly sure which descending wedge you're talking about. But the fact is a descending wedge will typically break to the upside. You could look at the descending wedge like right here. That's true. Yeah, you could have a break bullish here. I'm not saying for sure we're going to see 92. That's not exactly my call. I'm saying there is a greater than not likelihood, probably a 30 to 40% chance that we're going to see a $92,000 Bitcoin. Now, here's another good question. Ken Monk just asked, why not sell and then wait for $100,000 or sub? Here's why you should not do that. Because timing the market is foolish, especially on the sell side of things. Especially on the sell side of things. It's foolish because you're shorting Bitcoin. When you sell to buy back in lower, you're shorting Bitcoin. That's the very definition of a short trade. You sell now to buy back in lower, so you acquire more of the particular asset and you get more of the asset for your money. Betting against Bitcoin is rarely a good option because more often than not, Bitcoin's rallying. Just statistically speaking, Bitcoin is more often than not in an uptrend than in a downtrend. So already out the gate, it's not a coin toss that you're going to succeed. The odds are already stacked against you. You're much better off betting with the long-term trend. And the long-term trend for Bitcoin is extremely bullish right now. This is not me saying we're going into a bear market. This is saying we're having a mid-cycle corrective movement before another leg to the upside. If you sell now to buy back in at $100,000 or sub $100,000, you risk Bitcoin doing exactly the opposite of what its technicals are showing, which happens all the time, which is that Bitcoin goes completely against what its chart was showing us. There are plenty of times that Bitcoin does exactly the opposite of what you think is going to happen. And in that case, you get completely left behind. I definitely want to be crystal clear on this. I encourage consistent acquisition. Where should you buy? Here, everywhere. Consistent acquisition, consistent not selling. The only reason we're talking about this is because we have that cash account that ought to be growing with the market and shrinking with the market. You want your cash account to be doing this. It's growing with the market, shrinking with the market. Growing with the market, shrinking with the market. Okay? So, to be clear, I have bought a significant amount of Bitcoin at 105,000. Like a lot of Bitcoin at 105,000. I'm not against acquiring here. What I am saying is now I've acquired a lot here. I'm still doing our regular purchases because we're buying everywhere no matter what. And then we've got some more cash that we'd be looking to deploy down here at $92,000 should that come. But again, we have acquired a lot here and I'm not done. We're still acquiring here. Make sense? Cool. This is a very complicated way of saying buy all the time and buy when the market's low also. Let's read some more chat. Synergy Gaming said, thanks for being really genuine. Retracements are normal after a rally. Look for that 100K opportunity, and anything below that will be a very good opportunity. Exactly. Okay. They're not going to scare me out of my positions. I'm just fine. Good. Don't be scared out of your position. I don't want anybody to sell. Be dumb to sell right now. All right. A mere tweet from Orange Boss Man in your sideline. That's pretty much the best way to explain why you should not sell. That's exactly why. Because at any point in time, we can have some kind of massive, story break that can drastically change the direction of the market. If the 4-year cycle is broken, does that mean that TA could be misleading? TA has to always be taken in the context of the overall fundamentals of the market. You cannot take technical analysis in a vacuum without taking into context the rest of the market. So, no, technical analysis is not misleading, and it is not irrelevant. It is extremely relevant, and it is actually the reason that I got so many entries at 77 while I was gone. As you guys know, I was gone for 8 weeks. While I was gone, it was because of the technical analysis that we did here live on stream. Like, I did it on, it wasn't even the TA I did on my own. It was the TA we did on stream in January and February that I knew that Bitcoin was going to hit 75, and I also had a feeling that it was going to bottom at 75. It was because of technical analysis that I got all those entries down around 75 to 80. I bought a bunch of Bitcoin down at $75 to $85,000. And then I bought a bunch of Bitcoin right here below 100 because my technical analysis told me we're going to break 100K, and sub $100,000 is one day going to be a very difficult entry to find if we ever see it again at all, which is why I bought so hard between $92,000 and $96,000. It's also technical analysis that encouraged me to buy a lot of Bitcoin between 100 and 105, knowing that Bitcoin's probably going to go to 150 to 180 by the end of this cycle. It's also technical analysis right now that once again is telling me that if we drop down to $92,000 to $95,000, that it is an excellent buying opportunity that I should take advantage of because I might not see it again soon or ever. Technical analysis is remarkably important. And those of you guys that are successful in the space know that it is. Okay. Let's see. The problem isn't losing. It is opportunity loss because the money in crypto could have been in REITs, up 31% since January. It's just true, even though people don't like it. That's interesting. You know, that's really funny because when you look at the market on a 6-month time frame, there are times that you can see the dollar is up against Bitcoin. But if you go to, let's see if I can find this. Let's look at the USD over Bitcoin chart. Not Bitcoin over USD. I don't even know if USD over BTC. Let's see if I can find the inverse. Yeah, here we go. So here's the interesting thing about that. If you look at the US dollar over Bitcoin chart, not Bitcoin over US dollar, the US dollar over Bitcoin, the value of a dollar compared to the value of Bitcoin, you can see that there have been times that the dollar has done better than Bitcoin. In fact, it's done significantly better than Bitcoin. We call these bear markets. And if you just look at that time frame, then sure, the dollar outperforms Bitcoin sometimes. In the same way, a REIT, a real estate investment trust, for those of you who don't know what it is, will outperform Bitcoin. But if you zoom out, you're going to see the truth, which is that everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. The exact same thing is true with the housing market. This is why, for the most part, I have scrapped my plans of building a real estate portfolio, because I genuinely believe that in the next decade, Bitcoin is going to massively outperform real estate. Here's why. I don't like making a statement without evidence. Let's look at where most of the inflation, or where most of the housing changes come from in the last 30 years. Now, not all of it's because of inflation, but a good bit of it is. $100 in 1995 would be worth roughly $213 right now. What that means is that the United States dollar, if you flip that, now we just take 213 divided by 100. If you flip that, then you would say that the United States dollar, actually 100 divided by 213 rather, do that backwards. You would say that the United States dollar has only retained 47% of its value, which means in the last 30 years it's lost 53% of its value. Now, if we look at the median home price, see if I can find this chart, you're going to find that real estate is not a terrible investment, but it also mostly tracks with inflation. In 1995, the median home price in the United States was $130,000. Today, it is $416,000. But wait a second, we have to adjust this for inflation. If we go back to the inflation calculator, if the median home price was $130,000 in 1995, that's the same thing as a $277,000 home price in 2025 because of inflation. So if the median home price today is $416,000, then you don't have as much growth as you think you do. You can't compare $130,000 to $416,000 because you're not tracking for inflation. By the way, this is officially reported inflation by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Bureau of Lame fill in the blank. That's what BLS stands for, actually, right? If you compare $277,000 to $416,000, let's be generous, say 417. 417 divided by 266. Let me do a little bit of quick math. 277, I'm sorry. 77. Then that means that you've seen a 50% return, 1.5%, over the last 30 years. Now, let's take 50% and divide that by 30. That means the median home price has seen an appreciation on top of inflation of 1.6% per year. Oh, but Jeb, what about the rents? Well, because you took a mortgage out on it, you're hardly making any profit on the rents. The main way you're making profits is by paying down the principal, so we're still mainly talking about principal. Let's say that you add 5% per year with rent. Yeah, good luck with that. Maybe you're looking at 6.5%, 7% over the last 30 years on the median home. Now, if you bought a really good deal in a really good market, put some really good reno into it, you could get 10, 15% real estate. And it's also got cash flow, which is helpful. But if you just look at the value of the property, you've made 1.5% per year. That sucks. So in 6-month terms, of course real estate's going to beat Bitcoin sometimes. Because sometimes Bitcoin's down. If you zoom out, everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. It all asymptotically approaches Bitcoin. All of your favorite altcoins too. All of them. ETH over Bitcoin. Here's one. Oh, but yeah, Ethereum's about to do a lot better. Guys, this is the log chart, and it's taking a vomit. But Jeb, it's going to output. Yeah? You think it's ever going to get back to where it was? You think Ethereum's going to be 4x larger in market dominance than it is right now? Go back to 35%? Good luck. A to BTC. I love Cardano. Love Cardano. That chart don't look great. You would have outperformed it in Bitcoin. There are times here and there that the altcoin will outperform it during the alt season. You can make a lot of money in the alt season against Bitcoin. But if you're trying to hold for 10 or 15 years and just keep things simple because you don't have a full-time job in crypto like I do, and you have a 9 to 5, and you can't look at this crap 12 hours a day like I do, it's better just to buy Bitcoin and hold it. Do I hold altcoins? Yeah, some. I'm going to sell them at the top of the alt season. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a long game. The only reason I buy altcoins is to cycle out and get back into Bitcoin. Let's see if we can look at SPY over BTC. I don't know if this is a thing. I don't think this is a thing. Does anybody know if you can look at that? S&P 500. I don't think I can. But anyway, you look at all of it. Solana. Solana over BTC. Guys, Solana's going to do great. Look at Solana. It looks better than the other charts. Looks better. You know, you have ascending, right? It's not great. In the long run, everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. In the long run, everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. And wait until the housing bubble bursts. Yeah. You're not going to be able to loan out your Bitcoin to be able to put your Bitcoin in liquidity pools, loaning it out to people, all kinds of stuff. Let's see. And wait until the housing market. Stack sats like my life depends on it, Pastor Jeb. Whoever said MicroStrategy is cooked, you're wrong, bro. Go look. No, MicroStrategy is going to do very well. I don't own MicroStrategy because I'd rather be in the coin itself, even if I get a slightly less return. Because I genuinely believe that everything will go to zero against Bitcoin. Now, MicroStrategy has probably the best fighting chance of anything on the stock market to not do that. But it still probably is not going to outperform Bitcoin in the ultra long term. Now, I can get into the reasons for that in another video. I love Saylor. I've interviewed him. We have a great interview with him here on the channel. Seen him talk a lot. But still, it's Bitcoin. You're not going to beat Bitcoin in the next 10 years. You're just not. I can't think of a single investment that you can make other than maybe some startup that's just going to go 1,000x in the next 10 years that's going to beat Bitcoin. 99% of things in the next 10 years are going to lose value against Bitcoin. The opportunity cost, the asymmetric risk profile is enormous. Is it dumb to sell my alts into Bitcoin like today and get them back later? No, but I'm not necessarily encouraging you to do that because an alt season is probably going to happen. And funnily enough, I say most things are going to go to zero against Bitcoin. Alts actually do have a chance of outperforming Bitcoin over the next year because alt season is probably going to happen. So if you're going to do that, now is probably not a great time to do that. My plan is that after our altcoins just explode in 5 to 10x, then we're going to see... then we're going to liquidate them. I'm going to put some of it into cash to buy in the bear market. I'm going to put some of it into Bitcoin for the long run. And our goal is just to get to a certain amount of Bitcoin. I keep it simple. Guys, you've got to figure out a few core principles, not 40, like 5. Figure out what they are, stick to them, right? Bitcoin's going to go into a major rally. It might have a correction in the meantime. If it does correct, I'm going to buy more. If it goes up, then great, our portfolio is bigger. This is a very... This is kind of the same thing over and over again. This is a fun question. Wait, William Tur said, most depressing channel is never consistent. One day it's up, one day it's down. I mean, the market tells you different things. And I'm telling you about 2 different time frames. You know, we were talking about the longer term, next 3 to 6 months. Yeah, Bitcoin's probably going to be at $130,000 or so. Right now, we're telling you about the shorter term. It could drop down to 92. Those 2 things are not inconsistent. We have 2 different topics. And it's helpful if you can understand that so that you realize that we're talking about, we're talking about here today, and yesterday we were talking about here, right? Yesterday we were talking about here, we were talking about here, today we're talking about here. They don't contradict. It's the same thing I've been saying over and over again. The only time it looks like we're contradicting ourselves is if we're talking about 2 different time frames. So you have to understand, one day we're talking about one time frame, one day we're talking about another, because I'm trying to give you a comprehensive view of what the market looks like. Your opinion about James Wynn. What a fun question. Oh my goodness, I've been watching this guy so closely on X. If you guys don't know, oh my goodness, James Wynn. I'm following the guy. I even messaged him. I was like, good luck and Godspeed to you, brother. I'm not going to pull up the chat, but I was like, good luck and Godspeed to you, man. If you guys don't know who this guy is, he's trying to make $1 billion in USD perps. He got up to like, what, $90 million and got liquidated. Started taking donations to get back in the game. Here's my opinion of him. So long as his family is taken care of, which I think he's a single guy, so that doesn't even count. So long as his family's taken care of, who the hell cares? He's having fun. Should he be playing with that much leverage? From a strict, principle standpoint, no. But it's entertaining. So long as he keeps some money on the side, have fun. Maybe he does hit $1 billion. I don't know. I think he's ridiculously prideful and arrogant. And I think he's also full of crap when he says he's got a bunch of houses and a bunch of cars and everything, or he wouldn't have been taking donations to get back in the game. But it's fun to watch, you know? I mean, my main my piggy bank right now, he's taking donations, but he's also like bragging after he got liquidated that, oh, I've got all kinds of cars and houses and boats and all that stuff. I don't really think so. I think he's full of crap, but I also think he's freaking hilarious. Well, I'm not knocking the guy. I think he's putting on a show. He's probably going to see this. Now somebody's probably going to send it to him. Somebody said absolute cinema on X. No, that's exactly what it is. It is extremely entertaining to watch. So long as he and his family and his parents and all that are taken care of, do you, whatever. Maybe he hits $1 billion. Maybe he gets $1 billion, dumps it into Bitcoin, and he turns into Elon Musk and founds a company. Who knows? Who cares? Do whatever you want. It's fun to watch. Would I do it? Hell no. Are people having fun watching it? Yeah. Is the pride and arrogance that I've seen him show good for him? No, it's not good for his soul. It's not. But it's funny to watch. I will say that. It's a little bit like watching a car accident in slow motion. And I'm really hoping, just because I root for the underdog, which he's not the underdog. I mean, the dude's got millions and millions of dollars. But I would love to see him. I would love to see him pull it off. I don't know that it'd be good for his soul to have $1 billion after being so arrogant. But I like movies that have a happy ending. If he pulls it off and gets to $1 billion, that'd be really cool. That'd be fun to watch. I told you for a long time, you can make money leverage trading, but you can also lose everything, go bankrupt, and never get it back and spend the rest of your life with a mountain of regret. So I would not recommend it to anybody. But it is funny. Wouldn't mind doing an interview with him here on the channel. Be good to see him. Hi, Jeb. Have you changed the time you go live? No, I have not. The schedule's been all over the place lately. We're trying to get settled back into a normal schedule. Some people don't want to learn the cryptoverse, Jeb. You keep doing you. Boom. There you go. Is Bitcoin definitely going up or down now? It's not definitely going to do anything. What it's definitely going to do is it's going to go to $1 million in the next 10 years. It's pretty much definitely going to go to $1 million in the next 10 years. Short term, it can do whatever the frick it wants. What's most important is not predicting it with 100% accuracy. What's most important is being ready. And the way that you can be ready right now, to reiterate, is you can acquire at this level and it's good, but hold some cash because we could drop lower and you're gonna want to get some entries down sub 100K if you see it again, because there is a very real chance that we never see $100,000 again after this year and next year. I mean, we could see the bear market drop us down to 60 or 70. Which, again, people don't like hearing that. Tough cookies. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. That's why people subscribe to this channel, is because I tell the truth, whether you like it or not. So the truth is, yes, we could drop sub 100K during the bear market. But you also don't know if that's going to happen. We could see Cynthia Lummis's bill get approved. United States acquires 750,000 Bitcoin over the next 5 years, and Bitcoin rockets to 400K, and you never see these levels again. So don't get left behind. We've dumped most of our cash into the market. We've got a little bit of it left in case we drop down to 92, but don't for a second think that I'm saying you shouldn't be buying at 100. I'd be a total freaking hypocrite if I said don't buy at 100. Because we bought a lot at 100. Love that like button, folks. Absolutely. Give that like button some loving. Hey, guys, I want to let you know about one of our sponsors who I just love so much, and you should definitely sign up for them. And that would be none other than NordVPN. If you guys go to nordvpn.com/Jeb, you're going to get a mega discount. If you didn't know, NordVPN is going to help keep you safe while you browse online. And the reason that that's so important is because if you build a big Bitcoin stack and it gets hacked, then you're screwed, right? We need to secure our assets, and part of the way that we secure our assets is we secure our entire online identity. This is very, very important stuff. NordVPN is the premier security company, virtual private network company, password management company, data management company on the planet. They have tens of millions of users for a good reason. I love NordVPN. I use NordVPN. We got people in chat saying they love and use NordVPN. Philly Skills 1428 said, love my NordVPN. MG said, I have NordVPN, all caps. Everybody that understands security loves NordVPN because they combine excellent security with excellent user interface at an excellent price. If you've not already signed up, then you can get NordVPN right now, the basic 2-year plan, for less than $85. You can get the Plus plan, which is the most value, and you're going to get a bunch of other stuff. Threat Protection Pro, Ad and Tracker Blocker, which which is a great one. The password manager, which is phenomenal. I love NordPass. Their password manager is great. You're going to get access to the VPN, their anti-malware and advanced browsing protection plan for $105 for the first 28 months. That's less than $4 a month. It's normally $419.72. You're going to get it for $105 because you signed up by going to nordvpn.com/Jeb. If you have not signed up for NordVPN yet, you absolutely should. You need a password manager to make sure that you're not forgetting your passwords and to make sure that they are secure. You need ad and tracker blockers to stop this kind of crap from following you around on the internet, getting your information and selling it to the highest bidder. You need the anti-malware and advanced browsing protection to keep you safe from people trying to break in, right? They're trying to get into your Coinbase. They're trying to get into your email account. They're trying to get into your 2FA so they can log into your bank account. They're trying to do this. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of data breaches lately. I mean, Coinbase had a data breach. Now the hackers, for the most part, probably know how much money you have over there, right? This happens all the time. And it's not something that you can necessarily prevent, but as far as the data breaches on these companies' side, but what you can do is you can get some software, get NordVPN for, again, less than $4 a month. That's like 10 cents a day to protect you from hackers and thieves breaking in, even if they do have information about you. So make sure you sign up for NordVPN if you have not already. And if you're looking for cloud storage, the Complete and the Prime plans also have cloud storage, which is great. This is a great place to store any kind of really sensitive information other than private keys. Don't put private keys in here, but anything else, social security numbers, different stuff like this is a great place to put it in a secure place. The Prime account also is very helpful. It's $6.33 a month. It's about 20 cents a day. Still very inexpensive. You can get 2 years for like $200. $177. They're going to get you the dark web monitoring over here. This is going to find out whether your social security number, your phone number, your email address, also your home address, all this kind of stuff has been compromised and is out there in circulation. On top of that, for Prime, you're also going to get $1 million in identity theft insurance. Did you know NordVPN also has identity theft insurance? Did you realize that? That's incredible. Cyber extortion insurance, professional assistance on how to react to cyber extortion. These are incredible services. And for 2 years, you can get it for $177. If you've got even $1,000 in crypto, why would you not spend $177 or $105 or whatever to get access to high quality security architecture to protect your stack? That's very, very, very important stuff being sold here. So if you've not already, make sure to sign up for NordVPN. Get these 2-year plans because if you buy it on the 1-month plan, it's significantly more expensive. You can save 60, 70, 80% using our coupon code and the 2-year plan. So sign up with the link in the description box down below. You will not be sorry that you did. NordVPN.com/Jeb. Cool. Let's read some more chat and then we're going to keep it going here. That's cool. All in one place. It is. You can get all kinds of stuff in one place. MG's a big fan of NordVPN, said 2 years. That's right. Does this cycle end in Q4 or Q1 2026? And if Bitcoin trades sideways between 90 and ATH, could alt season happen without Bitcoin pumping? Does the war in Ukraine negatively impact crypto in your opinion? The war in Ukraine, in my opinion, let's start there, has already had a pronounced impact on the United States, on the cryptocurrency market. I don't think it's going to continue to have much of an impact on the cryptocurrency market unless things get really hot, like, for example, an invasion of Poland, nuclear options being explored, something horrible like that. The market has, for the most part, priced in and accepted that there is a war going on in Ukraine. And so I'm not particularly concerned about that impacting the market. Now, naturally, from a humanitarian standpoint, the war in Ukraine is absolutely horrendous, and we definitely hate it for that purpose. But what we do have right now is a confidence that it's probably not going to impact the cryptocurrency market all that much. Now, as far as the other concerns, I don't exactly think that alt season is going to happen without Bitcoin pumping, because typically alt season is coming as a result of a great degree of confidence in Bitcoin that spills over into the altcoins. I don't think that you're going to see the altcoins go crazy until you see Bitcoin go crazy. That's typically how that goes. Now, as far as the end of the cycle, I hope that we drop down to 92, we get a healthy corrective movement, and then we rally up to 135 around the later part of this year, which would mean that the all-time high, that all-time high, 135 to 150, is probably not the end of the cycle because we haven't seen a blow-off top. We've seen a bear market both of the last times because we saw a blow-off top. We have not seen a blow-off top in this case. We see Bitcoin very linearly growing. The linear chart is what's defining this movement right now. You can see it right here. This is a linear expansion on Bitcoin. This is no longer the same exact kind of thing that you're used to seeing, where you see a logarithmic expansion on Bitcoin. This is what we've seen before, a log growth on Bitcoin, right? We've seen logarithmic growth. We've seen logarithmic growth, even, parabolic growth, right? We've seen linear growth. We've seen parabolic, logarithmic, and now we're seeing linear growth, which is significantly more sustainable, which leads us to the conclusion that a massive protracted bear market, at least one as soon as possible, is not necessarily as likely as it once was. Now, is a bear market going to happen in the traditional sense of 77%? Probably not. Could we see a 50 to 60% bear market? Absolutely. There's a very real possibility that Bitcoin does something like this. We drop down to 92. We rally up to 135. We backtest down to 115 or something. We rally up to 180. And then maybe off of 150 to 180, we have a 50 to 60% drop. A 50% drop off of 180 would be a drop, of course, down to 90. A 60% drop off of 180 would be a drop down to 72. Perhaps we backtest this all-time high at 73.8 during the bear market. That would make technical sense. That would make a lot of technical sense, is for us to be ranging between 75 and 200 over the next couple of years. And then maybe you bounce off of 75, rally up to 300 to 400 by the end of the decade. You're looking at $250,000 to a $400,000 Bitcoin by 2030, which sets us up perfectly for $1 million Bitcoin by 2035. I've thought about all of this from the technical standpoint. Do we see a massive bear market start right now? Not necessarily. I'm not particularly concerned about that. I think that there's a lot more that this market is going to do before that happens, so I'm not particularly concerned about that at all. So not something that I would be worried about the bear market coming right now. Good question, though. Someone said, how is FinSov Academy developing? FinSov Academy is doing great. If you guys don't know, you can sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy with the link in the description box down below. I'll go ahead and show you FinSov Academy. Got a lot of content coming over there. It's doing great. Show you the sales page for that. The Financial Sovereignty Academy is where I'm going to teach you everything that I know and everything that I do to teach you guys about how to build wealth and manage it in the cryptocurrency space to grow it. So if you've not already, then you should sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy, get access to our 7 laws of money, our 10 steps of the financial sovereignty way. You will learn more about how we invest and manage our Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and you'll be getting access to all kinds of new content that's coming out all the time over there. So make sure to sign up for FSA with the link down below. You said 40K last bear market. How did that turn out? 40K what? 40K what? 40K is the bottom? Yeah, obviously we did not we went lower than $40,000 in the last bear market. If I said 40K last market, then I probably had not, we were probably talking about a mid-cycle corrective movement. Any advice on what the safest wallets are out there right now? I like the Trezor lineup, the Trezor Safe lineup. I'm also looking into a couple of other wallets. Cold Card is one I'm looking into. It's a 2/3 multi-sig configuration wallet. It does take a lot more setup. What I will also say is that it's a good idea to get your seeds and stamp them into metal. We're looking at a company called Stamp Seed right now, looking to get a sponsorship from them. I used their product at the conference. It looked really good. I got to stamp like a little P into it. Looks like a good option for your 20-word seed phrases. Overall, the most important thing, you get a cold storage wallet, you put it in a safe, it's bolted into the foundation of your house, or you put it in a safety deposit box, or you buy the ETF, or you put it in someone else's house. You put it somewhere, wherever. There's a lot of considerations that go into that. And then you stamp the seeds into metal. That's pretty important. All right. Thoughts on the Circle IPO? Yes, I meant to mention that. Circle, if you guys did not already know, has gone IPO, initial public offering. We've already seen BlackRock talking about acquiring 10% of Circle, which would not be surprising at all. That would not surprise me at all. They're probably going to do that. And overall, I don't know that Circle's going to outperform Bitcoin, but I think it's going to perform very well. In the short term, it might outperform Bitcoin. You could hedge your bets against Bitcoin and Circle. Circle, if they have not already, are probably going to announce that they hold a lot of Bitcoin as well. Tether did that, so Circle probably does also. So there will probably be an announcement about that, which would be good for their stock price because they would basically be acting as a stablecoin and a treasury company. So very excited on all that. My opinion is I'm not sure that I'm going to buy the stock, but then again, it's probably going to do very well. Let's look at the Circle stock price. I think it's opening at 31. 31? No, not 31. It was opening at 7. Let's see. Circle price is at what? Where are they going to open the price at? I forgot. They said it. 34 million shares. Yeah, they're asking for a $50 to $52 range. That's right. So Barron's has something from today on this. They're looking at opening at $50 to $52 a share. CRCL is the ticker. That's what I was looking for. See if we can find. Is this circle? No. Looks like it's kind of hard to find it right now because it's still in the middle of the IPO as we speak right now. So very excited about it. Obviously, this is a big deal. Circle is probably almost immediately going to jump into the S&P 500. Tether is probably going to go IPO eventually, do the exact same thing. It just increases the amount of cryptocurrency exposure that the overall stock market has. It leads to more institutionalization of Bitcoin and crypto, which is the part that I'm the most excited about on that. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to go sign up for the best technical indicator in the entire cryptocurrency space, which would be none other than Lux Algo. You can find the link for Lux Algo with the link in the description box down below. Do not forget that it perfectly called all three of the major movements that we have seen so far this year, as it almost always does. It's going to continue doing that. It does a fantastic job of telling us where the market's going to go, and you can get it with the link in the description box down below. If you use our link, you're going to get a big discount. Sign up for the yearly plan. Use our link. You'll get a big discount. You will be so glad you did. One trade, one investment will make all the money you spend on Lux Algo back very quickly. It's a very good way to ROI quickly in the cryptocurrency markets. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure to stay tuned because we got some more content coming out relatively soon. We're going to wrap it out. Make sure to sign up for NordVPN also if you've not already. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.